Hi, welcome to Ladies of Another View. I'm back, and I'm joined today with Kendi and Carmen and Mary.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today. And I don't know if it's as windy where you are as it is here, but how about that wind?
Oh my gosh, I'm expecting Mary Poppins to come in with her umbrella.
I think she's going to lose the umbrella.
I don't know.
We
Yeah.
had
It's
calf
really
shelters
strong.
blown all over. We had, some fences blown down. We have all the straw piled up against. We had a hog fence. It looks like a snowbank with just made out of hay.
Oh, shoot.
Wow. We had tree branches coming down that were trying to hit cars but didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
So
And as we
Crazy.
sit here, we can hear that whistling wind outside. I hope you can't, because that would interfere with our sound quality. But we have a big show today. Joining us is Tammy Clark. She's on Zoom, and she is a respiratory expert, respiratory protection expert. And you have a long bio, of course, and you are the person that doctors and nurses go to for their training on mask protection, right?
Correct. Yes.
Tell us,
I'm a PPE.
tell us the highlights of what kind of experience do you have?
Well, it's interesting because those in my career field are really behind the scenes, and most people don't really know much about us until there's a problem. So in our career fields of environmental health and safety, occupational health and safety, industrial hygiene, these are fields where we are focused on keeping and protecting people from pathogens, chemical exposures, any sort of toxic substances. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. People like me come in and we do a hazard analysis and a health risk assessment. And then we figure out what sort of pathogen or hazardous substance you may be exposed to. And we look at the PPE that's available to us and respiratory protection and things like that. And then we just make sure that you're protected and you're wearing the PPE or the respiratory protection that you need, or maybe it's gloves or goggles or face shields, whatever it might be, to protect against the particular hazard for your workplace.
And you have like 15 years experience doing that, right?
Yes, actually more.
And as we talk, I want to mention, I'll mention it a couple times in the show, that you are going to be here in Bismarck this Thursday, April 1st. You will be speaking at the Heritage Center. It's, there we go, the Freedom Gala. And you will be speaking with Kristen Megan, who also is an expert in the field of protection and masks and hazardous conditions. You speak at 7, but the doors open at 6 o'clock. I suggest getting there early. I think there's going to be a complete, it's free, so I don't want to say a sellout crowd, but I think it'll be standing room.
Free will donation to help with the expenses.
Right. Free will donation, because this is really a mission for you, isn't it, Tammy?
Yes, absolutely. I became an accidental activist during the COVID pandemic because I was running my own business, health, safety, and compliance firm. And when I was told by my governor, I live in Michigan, so I'm dealing with Governor Whitmer, that we had to shut down our businesses, even businesses that the federal government deemed necessary by the CISA memo, our government deemed to be unnecessary. So literally every supportive business like construction, real estate, financial services, things like that, everything was completely shut down in the state of Michigan. We were fined if we left our homes, and it was just absolutely crazy. Well, as a professional health and safety expert, PPE expert, pathogen protection expert, I knew that this was not only completely irresponsible, but it was illegal. And so I refused to shut my business down. I'm involved in health and safety and keeping people protected. And so I knew better. I knew this was just insane. It was totally unconstitutional. And so at that time, I stood up and became very vocal and became one of the business owners who refused to shut down.
Wow. So I'm curious to know, because, I've paid attention to what's been happening in Michigan, and I've seen you in different interviews, and I'm so excited that you're here on our show today. But I'm just curious to know what your opinion is with the mask mandates that were passed so long ago, and people are still following today. I mean, what would you say to that, and what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's really the number one issue that got me speaking very loudly because I am a PPE and respiratory protection, pathogen protection expert, OSHA credentialed with many certifications and college degrees and years in the field. So when they started telling us that we had to start putting a mask, face covering, surgical mask, homemade mask, whatever it might be, just go ahead and cover your mouth and nose to keep you safe from this virus. I knew immediately that this was so egregious that I had to stand up and say something, because we never, ever take a blanket, one-size-fits-all approach to pathogen protection. There are decades worth of tests and studies that they are sweeping under the rug right now and ignoring that OSHA standards actually were based on for pathogen protection and respiratory protection and PPE. So they're ignoring all of that and sweeping all of that under the rug. And it is illegal in the workplace to take somebody and put them in any sort of protective equipment. In fact, OSHA is saying, oh, this isn't PPE, just so they can get away without following the PPE rules. And they're making up all kinds of new terms. You're going to hear things like it's source control. You're hearing different things. Now they're calling it a medical device. Well, I'm sorry, but anything that you force somebody to put on or to wear to protect either themselves or the wearer is personal protective equipment to protect against a known hazard, right? So they can get away with trying to rename it, but it doesn't matter. The science is there that supports the protocols that we need to take if we're going to utilize a medical device or personal protective equipment to protect somebody against a known or recognized hazard. We have to go through a wide variety of protocols in order to do that.
So can you tell us those studies that you referred to that absolutely these masks go against all the science and all the studies? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so back in the 1970s, it started way back in the 70s, NIOSH, which is the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, NIOSH actually did a study. This was their initial respiratory protection study that actually caused OSHA to create a respiratory protection standard in the 1970s, in 1979, actually. And then there are many other studies that have come out through 2008, since 2008, 2012, 2015, 18, and even 2020 from Hong Kong. Lots of different studies that show not only do these face masks not protect, and these are randomized controlled tests with metadata analysis, which is the gold standard of testing. Not only do they not protect against infectious disease spread by a virus, but they actually contribute to an increased infectious rate because we're causing unintended consequences and all kinds of improper wearing. We're not training people, so there's bacterial buildup in the moist mass, so we're rebreathing our gaseous exchanges, our toxic gases that should be expired, right? We're trapping all that in and rebreathing. We're creating moist bacterial-ridden environments. And in addition, we're causing all kinds of fomite transmission just by touching the mask, cross-contamination, things like that.
Wow. That is just amazing that, you know, when you think about that, that kind of confirms some of the statistics we were seeing of states that weren't shut down, that were having no bigger spikes than the ones that were shut down and masking was required all the time. And it didn't make any sense.
That's right. That's right. And what they're trying to claim is that all of these states have higher rates, when actually the studies show, and the CDC's own website show, that these states that have no mask mandates have much lower rates per capita. And that's because we are not doing things that cause an infectious spike.
Wow.
All right, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about when you are training medical personnel on mask wearing, because there are some situations where you do wear a mask and some when you do not. I want to get into that when we come back, right after this, with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota. Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back, and we are joined by Tammy Clark, who will be here this Thursday in Bismarck at the Heritage Center. The doors open at 6 o'clock. She will be speaking along with Kristen Megan, who are both experts with OSHA-trained experts in the kind of mask wearing and protection and hazardous situations. Maybe I'm not explaining that well, but she has her own business and knows about mask mandates, and we can ask her questions at the end of her talk too. But right now we were talking about masks, and Carmen, you had a good question you wanted to bring up.
Well, I was wondering, Tammy, if, you know, we're such an agricultural state, and for many years we've heard about how and OSHA used to be not a nice word. If you were working a farm business, it was like, oh, OSHA's going to show up, we're going to be in trouble. But, you know, just what you need to do to protect yourself if you're around the chemicals or the pesticides or the, you know, the anhydrous ammonia. What is required mask-wise with that, and how that might tie into what we're hearing with the virus versus the chemicals and whatnot?
Yeah, that's a perfect example of what those in my career field do. So it doesn't matter what industry you are working in, whether you're in the farm industry, whether you're in the medical industry, or whether you're in the construction industry and you're digging in contaminated soils. If there is a hazard and there's an exposure, we come in and we do an overall risk assessment, and we determine what is it that you're exposed to. In this case, say anhydrous ammonia, very real exposure for your farmers, right? So then we look at what sort of PPE or personal protective equipment is rated to protect against anhydrous ammonia infection or exposure. And so then we need to look at, according to OSHA standards, because OSHA does have agriculture standards, and they also have what's called the hazard communication or HAZCOM standards and respiratory protection standards that all the farmers need to follow if they hire anybody outside of their own immediate family, right? So you've got a lot of big commercial farms in your area. So all these farmers know they've got to go through the training. They've got to be, first of all, you've got to have a health risk analysis to make sure that you are cardiopulmonary fit enough to work in a respirator, because when you cover somebody's mouth and nose, your respirations change, your breathing pattern changes. It's harder to breathe in, and you have to forcefully exhale, which affects the cardiopulmonary system. These studies and tests that NIOSH did that I was referencing earlier, that go back to the 1970s, we know that when people were putting on their own respirator or face covering, whether it was a carpenter to protect against dust or a painter to protect against paint fumes, we were seeing people actually die of heart attacks, because not everybody is strong enough or fit enough to cover their mouth and their nose and then change the respirations, tax the body's cardiopulmonary system by doing physical work in an environment that may be hot, high humidity, things like that. This is where the standards came from in the first place. So in order to be able to put somebody in that type of protective factor, we have to first do an overall health risk assessment on them. If they pass the health risk assessment, from there then we have to determine what PPE is rated to protect against that particular hazardous exposure. So there are protective factors, there are fit factors, there's training involved, how to properly don and doff your equipment, how to store it, how to clean it, how to disinfect it. And then there's work rest cycles, which all depends on the type of work that you're doing and the environment, the heat and the relative humidity and things like that. So you can see how when somebody has to follow these types of protocols to keep them safe while working with PPE, how my flags and my radar was going off like, what are we doing when the government is now telling us we have to all cover our mouth and our nose, no matter what type of industry we're in, no matter what type of work we're doing, or what type of environment, the heat, the relative humidity, it doesn't matter. One size fits all, blanket mask mandate. You can see how egregious this is to people like me who knew better.
Wow.
Right.
So that makes me wonder, as I listen to you, what precautions do you think would be best, given that we're facing this virus and there are people who are at risk of getting seriously ill from it? What would be your answer to that?
Yeah, so this is what's frustrating to me. I have not heard one doctor on any COVID-19 panel yet discuss preventive protective measures. All they say is mask up, social distance, wash your hands. That is not how we tell people to protect themselves against a known virus. Now listen, pathogens are part of our world, bacteria, viruses. We've lived with them since the beginning of time, and they will always be here. We are never going to eradicate pathogens. And actually, viruses, bacteria, pathogens, in some ways, in many ways, play a part in our world. And we all carry them. We inhale them and we exhale them all the time. This should not be shocking and alarming to us. This is nothing new. And in fact, this particular pathogen, this SARS-CoV-2, if you do, get it and get COVID, develop COVID, you have a 99.97% survival rate. So what are we doing? What I would tell people to do is just take your normal basic health sanitary precautions, right? Practice good health hygiene. First of all, keep your body healthy. Do the things that we know keeps our body healthy. Eat clean, drink lots of water, take supplements like vitamin D3, zinc, vitamin C, things that we know, quinine, right, in tonic water. We know that these things are very protective against this particular virus. So do those things that make you healthy, that keep your immune system functioning optimally. Second of all, get outdoors in the fresh air. The number one thing that you can do from the world of industrial hygiene, environmental health safety, for pathogen protection, just to prevent the spread of infectious disease, is ventilation controls. So the one thing that we were all told to do, stay in our homes, lock ourselves in, is the worst thing you can do. And it's the number one thing that will cause an increase in the spread of infection. When we should have been all outdoors, I live in Michigan, so we have lots of beaches. All of our beaches were shut. Nobody was allowed to go to the beach. And I'm thinking, you want everybody to stay indoors, all congregated together? That's going to increase the spread. We should be going to the beach, right? So these are the things you should do. Stay home if you're sick. If you're not feeling well, stay home. Isolate yourself until you're symptom free. Wash your hands frequently. If you know somebody is sick, keep a distance from them. But other than that, what else do we do for viral illnesses, right? It's really no different than the flu.
Well, I just want to say, amen, sister. I love you, and I agree with everything you've said, 100%. I have to tell you, I was shopping in the grocery store this week. There was this woman who was trying to get something off of the top shelf. She couldn't reach it. She had a mask on, gloves, goggles. I went up to help her. I have no mask on, okay? I stand on this little bar and reach up to grab it for her. She looks at me and she said, "I'm one that follows the rules." And she was so disgusted that I didn't have anything on and that I had stood on the metal plate, to reach up and help her. So anyway, I agree with everything you've said.
Well, and
yes,
can
well,
I just
it's
ask?
common sense.
Yeah, right. Just quickly, we only have about a minute, but what are your thoughts then? Is it different for our kids that are being forcefully masked in school? Some of them out on the playground have to wear their masks. I mean, do you think that's a different level?
This is why I really got involved and started making videos that went viral, because this is incredibly dangerous. Our children are exerting a lot of energy. They're running around and they're breathing heavy, and they're outdoors. It's the best form of ventilation you can have, is being outdoor in the open air, because viruses and viral load will disperse, right? And so we don't have to worry about catching COVID. It's not lurking on the playground. These kids need to be breathing fresh air, out in the sunshine, playing. That's what keeps their immune system strong. And instead, we're muzzling them, and we're causing them to breathe in reduced oxygen levels, which is immunocompromising and immunosuppressant.
Tammy, I am so glad you're out there with this message. Isn't it a relief? We have much more to talk about. Tammy got politically involved. Imagine that. We're going to talk about that after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are joined with Tammy Clark. She's a respiratory protection expert. She'll be here in Bismarck this Thursday. That's 2 more days at the Heritage Center. Doors open at 6. She'll be speaking at 7. We have about 2 hours more of questions, and so we're going to do our best, Tammy. Give it all you got and talk fast.
I'm going to quickly ask, because everyone's afraid of OSHA, the big bad OSHA. I mean, if you mention OSHA in any business, any agency, everyone is very wary of OSHA. So my question is kind of 2-part. It's like, why isn't the government using OSHA standards, and why doesn't the CDC follow OSHA standards?
Well, that's a great question, and that's the question I'm asking as well. So this is why, as an OSHA credentialed, OSHA trained expert, I have been working with this agency. I've also been working with the DOT and the EPA and a lot of these regulatory agencies in the course of my work for many, many years. So I'm very well versed in these, probably hundreds of thousands of standards. I've memorized a lot of them, and I use them in my career field. I have to follow them. 1 year ago, just 1 year ago, if I had told my clients, listen, there's a new virus in town, so here's what I'm going to recommend. You all need to wear a mask. You need to take everybody's temperature every day. You need to ask them this personal health history. You need to, get in their health business, which violates HIPAA law. And you need to ask them all these health questions, personal health questions, because of a virus. Do you know if I had done that pre-COVID just 1 year ago, I would have been fired for incompetence and probably fined by OSHA for breaking the law, OSHA's law. So now here we are, and we have OSHA mandating that people do something that is not only unhealthy, but it violates their own standards, and they're the drivers of it. So let me just explain this. And this is why I became a federal whistleblower against OSHA. The President of the United States appoints the director of federal OSHA. The governors of each state appoint the director of the state OSHA program. So these directors of this federal regulatory agency are the yes men of those that appoint them. So when we have a president or we have governors using this agency, weaponizing this agency to put undue burden on the employers to become their mask police and to force the entire workforce to do something that goes against their own standards, you've got a very serious revisionism problem. It's criminal and it's illegal. This is why I started blowing the whistle, because it's so, so wrong. So OSHA, the employees within OSHA that I've talked to, they know this is not right, but they are being directed and told that they have to follow these new COVID-19 guidelines. And it's like, well, then why don't we have flu guidelines? Why don't we have H1N1 guidelines? I mean, there's a lot of different strains of coronaviruses. Why just this one? There's a lot more to it. And it begs the question, why is the government now turning on its own historical standards? Why are they so guilty of revisionism? What is going on? Especially when you stop and ask yourself, if this virus has a 99.97% survival rate, and it doesn't kill babies or children or adolescents or teens, but the flu does, this has a better survival rate, and it affects a much smaller segment of our population, the elderly and the immunocompromised, pretty much exclusively. What is going on?
Amen, sister.
So,
amen.
Yeah, I'm so curious. I mean, you're somebody who's standing up, you have a voice that you're using, you're raising alarms. You mentioned that OSHA employees know that this is wrong. Why? Why are people not standing up against this? I do not understand that at all.
I don't either.
So what's your opinion on that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I have met a few other brave souls like myself. I'm very justice driven. That's my personality, for one thing. I've never been afraid to stand up and speak my mind. So part of it is that's just my personality. I'm also just very justice driven, and I'm a truth seeker, and I have to, right the wrongs in the world. That's just kind of my personality. But the other part of that is that I'm a business owner. I don't work for somebody who can tell me I can't say that or I'm going to get fired. So I have met a few people over the last year in my career field. Kristen Megan is one of them. She's my military counterpart, who's also a consultant and owns her own business now. And you guys will get to meet her with me. We're both testifying in front of the North Dakota legislature on Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, and then we'll be with you guys for the gala Thursday evening. So she also was doing the same thing, saying the same things at the same time I was. And I actually met her. I actually listened to her on a radio program, and that's how I found out about her. And I messaged her like, oh my gosh, there's another person like me that's saying the same thing. And I think that, and so we've since met quite a few. We're doing a summit right now, a PPE and respiratory protection expert summit. And we're having a bunch of these professionals and experts in our career field. We're interviewing them, and we're going to release that as a docuseries for people to listen to. But it's taken a year to connect with a lot of those people in our career fields, because there's very few that they own their own businesses. And they're brave enough to stand up and take on this global agenda. Because let me tell you something, what we're saying, it's going up against the CDC, the World Health Organization, the doctors on these federal doctors on these state boards that are put in place by the CDC. We have found this out through testifying in court cases as expert witnesses. What we are up against is enormous. Quite an agenda.
Tammy, thank you for your courage and your example, because we need experts like you speaking up so we know the situation and we can also share that. So tell us, how did you get involved with Stand Up Michigan?
Well,
and you are the executive director, right?
Yes, I'm the executive director with Stand Up Michigan, and I say that, you know, a year ago, I had no idea that I would become an accidental activist, right? I had no idea. I was not involved in politics or activism, but I got involved because I was so angry. And so I started following a group called Stand Up Michigan. It was just a Facebook group of angry people like me who recognized that this is not right. And there were nearly 400,000 Michiganders as part of this group. And so I would just listen as I was doing my work, and they were only a couple of months old. It was basically just a grassroots movement of people. And so the guys that formed this group originally did a live stream video on Facebook, and they said, this movement has become so large, we recognize that we need to organize and we need an executive director. And I was watching, I happened to be watching as I was doing my work, and the Lord very clearly spoke to me, and he told me to apply for this position. And I know the Lord's voice versus my own emotion at this point in my life. And so I stopped for a moment and I thought, really, God? I'm running a business, I'm a mom, how am I going to take that on? But it was just very clear. So I picked up the phone and I called them and I applied for the position. And I just told them, listen, if you guys can be flexible with me, I know I'm supposed to take on this role. I'm good at business, I'm good at organizing, and I can help to build a very structured organization for this movement, to take this group to the next level. And so the rest is history. Here I am today.
What is your organization doing?
We are a grassroots group. We've formed out of good old-fashioned American civil disobedience, like I said. And our goals are to care for the people of Michigan, to inform and educate the people of Michigan, what's going on in the legislature and other things, and then to activate them. And we've accomplished some historic things, not only in the state, but in the nation. When you activate that many angry people, and then you give them structure and a way to become activated, it's pretty powerful.
That's awesome.
One of the cases you've been involved in is a pizzeria owner, Marlena, right?
Yes.
Tell us what's going on with her, and when we come back, we're going to watch a video of her, but just give us a little overview.
Yeah, so Marlena is a Polish immigrant who escaped communism as a young girl. She fled to Greece, where she lived in a refugee camp. She eventually came to the United States, where she worked 2 jobs and started her own bistro. And so when all this started, the lockdown started, she recognized it for what it was. And she said, she stood up very loudly. We started a Stand Up for Restaurants protest. And she came to that first protest where we were encouraging restaurant owners, do not shut down. This is tyranny. If you shut your door, they win. If you all stand up together, there's strength in numbers and solidarity. And so she was one that stood up, and she was one of the loudest, most vocal. She went on Tucker Carlson. She went on, I believe, Glenn Beck's show. And so our AG, who is very liberal and really crazy, really went after her and targeted her, and they threw her in jail.
Wow. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Marlena and see a little bit about what actually is going on there. When we come back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back. We are joined once again with Tammy Clark, and she is a respiratory expert, and she also is the executive director of Stand Up Michigan. We were talking about the case of pizzeria owner Marlena, who also is an immigrant from Poland. And I just want to watch a little video, an interview she did with Tucker Carlson.
A couple of nights ago, we spoke to a woman called Marlena Pavlos Hackney. She's a restaurant owner from Michigan. She came on the show to tell us how authorities in Michigan, the governor and the attorney general, were trying to send her to jail for running her business. And she warned us that Americans need to fight against authoritarianism like this, or the United States will come to resemble the country she fled decades ago, communist Poland.
We, the people, small business owners, like I told you, we have to fight. And I will fight for freedom, for American people. And I encourage everyone, business owners, other people, stand up and fight for your freedom before it's going to be taken away.
We have an update for you tonight on that story, and it's a sad one. Marlena Pavlos Hackney is in jail. She was arrested very early this morning, before 6 a.m. by police, taken away in ankle shackles and wrist cuffs. One of the few people in this country who gets up really early to go to work because she really cares, trying her very hardest, and they grabbed her and they sent her away for longer than people who commit gun crimes in Detroit get. We're told she will be in jail for 93 days unless she pays a $35,000 fine, and the Michigan Board of Health deems it safe for her to be released. She's not going to pay. She shouldn't pay. Marlena's restaurant has also been ordered closed until the Michigan State Health Department decides it can open again. By the way, when this happened, the Attorney General of Michigan, who's completely out of control and utterly political, Dana Nessel, issued a press release bragging that she had been arrested like some dangerous felon had been pulled off the street.
Okay, Tammy, hang with us. I want to show another couple clips. One is a protest that was outside her pizzeria. I assume Stand Up Michigan organized that, or just friends of Tammy, or yeah, Marlena.
Yeah, we were part of it. Yeah, I actually spoke at that rally, at that protest for her on Saturday. But we started back in November, what's called the Stand Up for Restaurants protest, because our restaurants have been really picked on. Even when other businesses were allowed to open, the restaurants were not. even though we know that restaurants are only responsible for 4% of COVID cases across the state, it's the restaurants and the bars that have been locked down. And why do you think that is? Because that's where we gather. That's where we break bread. That's where we talk. That's where we fellowship and visit, right? And that's where we talk about what's going on. And so they don't want us together. They don't want us congregating. They don't want us talking. And so they have just kept the restaurants locked down. So we started a protest for restaurants at that point, and Marlena was at that first protest. And then we started meetings so that these restaurant owners across the state could stay connected and support each other. And so we were a part, and we gave a support network to Marlena and others like her all across the state. The interesting thing is, the other owners, even though they, just like Marlena, refused to shut down, the Liquor Control Commission came and took their liquor licenses. They were all given cease and desist orders, which they ignored. And they continued to operate, even though the Michigan Department of Agriculture suspended their food licenses.
Oh
So
my gosh.
all of them across the state said, well, take my license if you want, but it's an unlawful revocation, because all a license is a contract between a business owner and the state. And they all said, and we were encouraging them, listen, you did not do anything wrong. They unlawfully revoked your license because you have not violated the terms of your contract. They did. They unlawfully revoked it. So you just keep going. So we were a really strong voice in encouraging these business owners to just stand up, because they can't control us if we all stand up. And that's been our whole mission throughout this whole thing. Well, Marlena, being a Polish communist refugee, recognized this more than anybody and was more vocal than anybody, went on Tucker's show, did the Glenn Beck show. And I think because of that, our attorney general, I don't know if you saw the clips or not, but our attorney general really picked on her and smugly, with a smile on her face, came on and bragged about how Marlena was in jail. And she actually said the terms, she is no martyr, she is no hero.
Wow.
And Tammy, now the other bar and restaurant owners, they got their food licenses back, right?
Correct.
But,
yes,
but
they
not
all-
Marlena.
That's right. And so they really made an example of her and picked on her because she was very vocal and went national. Her case went national. The other bar and restaurant owners, they just dug their heels in, even when the counties and the Liquor Control Commission and the Department of Agriculture all came to them and said, look, if you just pay these fines, we'll give you your licenses back. And they all said no. And they still got their licenses back, except for Marlena. She got thrown in jail with shackles around her waist, her ankles, and her wrists. I mean, they humiliated her and tried to make an example out of her.
I want to show just another clip to show how Marlena was treated in the court.
Ma'am, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I would like to call.
Ma'am, stop. I know you want to control this room, but this isn't Burger King. When the sign changes to Burger King, you can have it your way. Right now, this is my courtroom, and you will answer my questions.
Under my fifth.
Ma'am, stop. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury? Yes or no? Are you going to tell the truth? All right, I'll take that as silence. I understand.
Okay, now, I did wonder, like, why didn't she just answer the question?
Yeah, I'm
Give us some
curious.
insight there.
Why she didn't answer the questions? Well,
Right.
first of all, she was told, only answer questions that you truly understand. Well, you didn't see the clip where they attacked her assistance of counsel.
Oh,
who
wait
was
a
there
minute,
helping
Tammy.
her.
Tammy, I have that clip. Hang on, let's watch.
There we got to see the whole clip first.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Was not aware that I would be here other than acting as assistants, not as her lawyer, but as assistants of counsel in this matter to help her because she does have understanding problems of the English language.
Sir, apparently you have problems with the English language. This says appearance. It is for
No, it is for
lawyers.
appearance.
Do not argue with me, because what will happen is you'll get another 93 days and then we'll start over. So, sir, you came in here wanting to be assistants of counsel. There There is no other definition. It is plain English. You can cite cases all day to me. You're entitled to a hearing. Your rights remain intact. But for today's purposes, you are under arrest for contempt of court, this court. You may be escorted out. Thank you.
Oh, help me out here. What was he under arrest for?
He was under arrest for contempt of court. And he kept saying, I never claimed to be an attorney. I am a lawyer. I am one who practices law. I am here as her assistance of counsel, which the Constitution of the United States allows her and affords her. She has a hard time with the understanding of the English language or communicating. He was trying to help her communicate. He's trying to represent her. This judge was having none of it. She was completely out of control.
Yeah, she was.
No kidding.
Makes me so sad, actually, as I watch that woman, just to see her. I mean, she has power, and she loves the power that she holds, and she could care less for people. I mean, there's no humanity in that exchange at all.
No, it's just all about, this is my courtroom and I will do things my way. The former judge, silence Marlena, would not let her talk. I mean, this is just out of control what's happening in our judicial system. It has been totally corrupted.
Wow. Yes, it has. I mean, all I can think of when she was talking like that, it's like, so equal justice under the law. This is yet another case through COVID that says that is dead in our country right now, and we need to resurrect and have equal justice under the law once again. Yeah. And it's just not happening.
No, and people are not even afforded, right to assistance. They're not even afforded a fair trial. I mean, they're not even allowed to be heard.
Right, and a lot of that, it's hard for a lot of us to believe that's actually going on, but when you see it with your own eyes and you tell the story, we're going to keep telling the story when we come back right after this with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single-game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck, and guess who is still with us? Tammy. We cannot let her go. We're not done with her
thank
yet.
God.
That's right.
Amazing.
That's right.
Yep.
Thank you for sticking with us.
Yes.
We love you, Tammy. This is our lighter side, and it's going to get light.
Thank you.
But
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
part of the light side is Marlena did get out of jail. Tell us about that.
Yes, so initially the judge sentenced her to 93 days in jail with no bail. Now, this is really unprecedented. So the judge claimed, and our attorney general claimed, that she was such a threat to society that she must be locked up for 93 days with no bail, all for the crime of serving sandwiches and pizza to her community. Meanwhile, earlier that morning, the same judge let 2 repeat drug offenders to bail out of jail. And now they're free on the streets.
Wow.
So this is what we're dealing with here.
Insanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is insanity.
Yeah, it is.
And how long did she wind up staying in jail then?
So she was in jail for 5 days, and the judge initially was going to require her to pay a $7,500 penalty. And the day that we were there, I was actually talking with those that were on their way there with the bail, but we thought it was bail to get her out. We found out that it was not bail. There was no bail set. It was just a penalty. And so at that time, I was on the phone with her husband and explaining to him, look, if she pays the $7,500, it's just a penalty. It's her punishment, but it's also an admission of guilt. So you need to explain to Marlena, if you pay the $7,500, it's your admission of guilt for being naughty, but at the same time, you're still not getting out of jail. So my advice was, don't pay it. Just sit there and let us fight for you out here. Let us keep doing the protests and the rallies and the national, we were communicating with those at the national level about these shows. So Tucker did some follow-ups, Glenn Beck did some follow-ups. I was working with Daniel Horowitz from The Blaze, who was featuring this story as well. So after 5 days, the judge did allow her to set bail. And so then we were able to get her out at that point.
Wow. This is such an example of the power of the people. I mean,
Yes.
Marlena was willing to take it, right? She had to go to jail, but there were people outside who were fighting, and that is exactly what we have to do. We have to stand together, fight against this overstep that the government is trying to do in our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we kept saying. Fight, people, stand up. And we're not seeing enough people. Until we reach critical mass, this is not going to change. We have got to get everybody standing up. Start by taking off the dang mask. If we can't even do that, how are we going to win these big battles? If you can't even stand up for your freedom and your right to breathe.
Right.
So we just keep encouraging people, stand up and fight. And if you've got to go to jail, go to jail. Let us keep fighting for you. I mean, make an example out of it. And this is exactly what happens when we the people, because it's we the people that have the power. It's in our hands. I have been saying to people all year, last year on our stage and on our rally, at our rallies, we could end this really fast with one word: non-compliance. Stop complying.
Right. They don't have enough jail cells for all of us.
That's right.
That's exactly
Tammy,
right.
Tammy, is this movement growing across the country? You have Stand Up Michigan. Are we going to have Stand Up North Dakota and South Dakota and Minnesota?
I certainly hope so. Yes, we are. We are growing. We are working with groups in different states that have reached out to us because we have hundreds of thousands of followers around the nation and around the globe. We've been interviewed by radio stations and TV stations in Europe. And so if there is an organized group of people in an individual state, we've already bought the domains, the websites for each state, and we're going Stand Up America. And we have become very, very structured and process driven. So because we took the time to build this as a true organization, we've already done the hard work. Now we can help others to avoid all the pain and all the money and the time that we've invested in building this structure and this organization. And we can help other groups just step right into it and become successful at affecting real change fast in their own state.
You know, this is awesome because when you said you've talked with people from other countries, I just see it as America will lead the way once again, like we have so many times in the world to bring freedom. And you look at those other countries, they don't have the rights that we still are barely hanging on to, but we're hanging on, you know?
Right. That's right. And that's why we keep telling people, look, as America goes, so does the rest of the world.
Exactly.
So we have to unite. We've got to collaborate. We've got to unite, and we've got to take advantage of these good structured organizations that we have and build them, grow them to raise up those leaders from the grassroots level who will take it back.
Right.
I just want to say, Tammy, you are such an inspiration.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
thank you so much for being brave and for sharing the truth with us and the world. I mean, you're amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been so fun to be with you because guess what? I don't have an opportunity to talk with 4 like-minded women a whole lot as well. So you guys are refreshing for me as well.
Well, thank you. We look forward to you coming to town because we're going to be there. And I hope our viewers are
Please,
learning
yes.
and just learning from you today in that sense,
Right.
because a lot of people are afraid. We do have a lot of elderly right here in North Dakota, and they don't need to be afraid to take that mask off. Just take the mask off.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
they just don't know. They just don't understand that this is not a death sentence by any means. This is not even as deadly as the flu. And yet during cold and flu season, we don't run around all terrified, lock ourselves in our home and stop living for fear of
Right.
dying.
In their defense, it's like the government has always been right. You never question the government.
Yes.
It's just
Yeah.
the last
Right,
few.
right. This
or-
is different. We've never seen this before. So
Yeah.
now we're
Right.
finding our footing and finding our way. Thank you, Tammy.
Yes.
We will see you on Thursday, April 1st at the Heritage Center at 6
Yes.
o'clock. The door is open. And
look
thank you,
forward to it.
viewers. Thank you, viewers. We hope to see you there on Thursday, too.
You bet.
So until next time, we'll be back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good night.
Bye. Have a good one.